What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Aftersound, and we bring you Splinterlands content every single day. Hello to all the new folks who are coming through. This channel has had a lot of new subscribers recently, so welcome. You guys are awesome. Now, what do I want to get into today? Something that people have been requesting for a bit, and I just hadn't had my thoughts collected on it, but I'm going to try and share with you kind of my perspective from now, and that is my overall investment plan and my exit strategy from this game, right? Because for those who may not know, I came to this game as an investor first after the Axie Infinity boom, and then music I think is a little loud. With the Axie Infinity boom, and then was looking for games, so I came for the investment and stayed for the game. So let me start with a little history just to give you guys context on how this kind of played out for me, right? So I got SPS pulled up here. We're on a significant consolidation right now at about 60 cents. We even dropped below that to 50. I think I saw as low as like 56 cents. So here is what happened. I got into this game at the end of August, right? SPS was sitting at about 35, 36, 37 cents, maybe around like this point right here is the first time that I bought DEC and SPS. And DEC at the time was 0.007. SPS, I think I bought my first purchase at 35 cents. Small purchases, just something to get me in the game. But then I got hooked. I realized that this game was a lot of fun. And I realized that the investments that I was able to make into it on the token side were very profitable from an APR return standpoint, right? So we get, wake me up when September ends. Bitcoin does its usual September dump. And all of a sudden, SPS goes down to, I think, as low as 22 cents, which at that point, it was at 22 cents and DEC was at 0.005, right? So half a penny. And I went in heavy, right? I bought a good amount of DEC. I bought a good amount of SPS. And I decided to split my investment half and half, SPS and DEC. And I allowed it to be 5% of my total investment portfolio, right? So I put 2.5% into SPS. I put 2.5% into DEC. And I said, this game, I'm loving it. It's fun. And, I can play with it, unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the other large caps that I own, right? So I went in heavy and I was just like, 5% is good. What happens after that? SPS, in September, we get the announcement about SPS staking, which we knew was going to happen, but we get the Chaos Legion announcement that pushes SPS back up above the 30, all the way into the 50s, right? And then we get, the build up into the Chaos Legion pre-sale in October that pushes it almost to $1. And at that point, DEC goes from 0.005 or half a penny to almost a penny and a half, right? At a certain point. So now I'm sitting here and my investment into this game turns from 5% of my portfolio into 20%. And that makes me very, very nervous, right? I want it to be a good, disciplined investor. And therefore that means rebalancing at that point, right? Selling off and buying into the losers, right? And at this point, had I sold when we had jumped almost, 2.5x on here, and had I bought into Bitcoin at 40, in the mid 40s before Bitcoin popped in October, that would have been a good investment, right? That would have been what a disciplined investor should have done. I would have made a lot more money like that. I probably would have missed out here. But here's the problem, right? It scared me because I didn't know what my exit strategy is. And I'm still formulating that now, but now that I have somewhat of a plan and now that I understand a little bit more of the tokenomics, I now have figured out how I want to approach this, right? So 20% of my portfolio is way too high. And at that point, over the last month or so, I started reading into the tokenomics behind both SPS and DEC. And I did a deep dive into DEC. So if you're interested in that, check it out. You can just look through my history of videos. I know I still owe you guys a deep dive into SPS. And I will do that at some point. It's very complex, and I feel like I understand it, but not well enough to speak to it in a video without kind of fumbling my way through. So I will get that to you guys soon. But it made me realize that SPS is the token that I want to hold, right? For the long term, it's hard capped, it's not inflationary, And what I ended up doing over this past month, and I've been speaking to it in videos and on my Twitch streams. Oh, sorry, I forgot to plug that earlier. I do try to stream daily on Twitch at This Is Aftersound, so come through. But I've been speaking about it, and what I was doing is every time SPS would go through one of these mini dips, I was noticing that DEC was not dipping as hard from a percentage loss standpoint. So I would flip my DEC into SPS, right? And now where I'm sitting at is about a 15% allocation in SPS. And I have pretty much sold off all of my DEC. I have some working capital here, which is what I use for giveaways during streams and here. And I think I still have some in liquidity pools here and there that I'll eventually pull out, right? But there's still the benefit of the airdrop. So I'm not, I haven't given up on that fully yet. So what is my plan moving forward? Well, I realized that SPS is the token that I want to hold long term. It's getting me benefits in the game, and there will be more and more benefits in the game, not just vouchers, but as we've heard during the AMAs, and now we're starting to see in like tournaments and things like that, you need a certain amount of SPS staked, and they want to have all kind of use cases for SPS moving forward. So as it gets more and more valuable in terms of its in-game abilities, right, and in-game, whatever it can do in-game for you, I do believe that with only 3 billion SPS out there, hard capped, like the value will rise in the long term, right? And part of me looks at that now and says, okay, SPS is kind of like Bitcoin to me. Buy and hold and never sell, right? Like and Bitcoin is just a store of value, but what makes SPS so fun is that it gets me other things, right? So I am at a point now where I'm able to get some vouchers from it, which, each additional voucher is at what, $18. Now I'm holding the vouchers, and, I haven't spoken to this anywhere else, but I guess I could say now that, my goal was to get 1,000 vouchers. I really wanted that Legionnaire title. And I think I'm going to be giving up on that because it's just too much money. The amount of SPS that I have staked is enough to get me to my secondary goal, or just above my secondary goal. And so I'm just going to live with that. I don't need a Legionnaire title. I think I'd like to get Maverick status at some point in the future, and I can work towards that. And part of me wanting to get Maverick status is just so that, there is that access to be able to ask certain questions and then come here and bring that information to you, right? So to me, as this channel is growing and as, hopefully the information that I'm providing to you is valuable, I'll be able to have, that kind of access to the team or insight, or just access to the other people who are part of this ecosystem at the highest levels, and just really get their insight, ask them the questions that maybe people want to ask, but just aren't able to right now, or they can't get to it in the AMAs. And then I can share that back here with you guys. So that's the goal. But what I've decided is that my SPS, I'm going to hold it, stake it, and just let it grow, right? Like it's for a token, I'm getting 50+% APR, which, from DeFi standards is probably just average, but I can't, this has value to me other than just, a store of value, right? In the future, there will be opportunities for more vouchers or early access to certain things. And so I'm just going to not buy, but I'm just going to hold my SPS for the long run. If it goes above 15%, I'll probably be okay with that, right? That means the rest of the market is dipping and SPS is holding. It would be tough for me to sell at that point. But what I'm going to do is just allow myself to hold the SPS, continue staking it, and get those benefits in game. Now, since I've sold off all of my DEC, I am really, really just viewing DEC as an in-game currency, right? It's just a currency to me. It has no value. It has value in the airdrop. And that's why, to me, it's very inflated. And so I don't mind holding a little bit of it, but I'm flipping it as quickly as I can back into cards. And then eventually, as I said, in terms of my exit strategy, I'll be pulling out value from this game in DEC, right? And then converting that back into dollars. So where are the three sources of like passive income that I'm getting right now? I am earning SPS from the SPS rewards, just from staking my SPS. I'm also earning SPS from airdrops. And because I have flipped a lot of my DEC into cards, I've kind of split that, and not really even 50-50. I don't know what the ratio is, but I have split the DEC that I am getting back into cards that either are income producing, meaning that they have good rental value, or I'm buying cards to improve my deck, right? And so that's kind of what I'm doing with the DEC that I'm getting from my rentals every single day. I'm reinvesting that into more rentals, and sometimes reinvesting that into my deck. And so moving forward, what I would like to do is be able to get to a point where DEC is the passive income that I pull out of here, right? And so buying these rentals and building up, my rental collection in a sense will be a fantastic way for me to just have that kind of passive income that I can realize back into dollars or whatever other currency that I want to flip it into. But SPS is something that I'll hold for the long term. And the airdrop, we still have 9 months of that. So I'm not going to scoff, because 9 months is a decent amount of time and people can make a good amount of money. But I don't want to be holding DEC for that. I would rather be holding cards that give me the collection power that count as airdrop points as well. And what I'll probably be doing with the SPS that I get from my airdrops, right now I'm restaking a lot of that to make sure that I hit my at least secondary goal for vouchers. But in the long run, and when I say long run, meaning maybe after the presale, and between the presale and the end of the airdrop, I'll probably be taking that SPS that I get from airdrops and reinvesting that into cards, right? So maybe what I would like to do at a certain point is have DEC being completely removed from the game for me as my daily passive income, right? And I wouldn't be taking it out daily, but as we go along, DEC is what I'm treating as currency. And I am bearish on DEC in the long run, but I'm bullish on the game. And that might be controversial for some. I know it's ruffled feathers in the past, but DEC is just above its peg. And even with the most recent AMA, they are not doing anything to take it off of its peg. So I do believe in the long run, it will go down. It may have some value here and there. And I think Rift Watchers will be a good way, as I did in my last AMA recap, it's not a recap, but AMA takeaways. Rift Watchers will be an interesting way for the team to burn DEC and to therefore kind of make it more valuable in a sense. So we'll see how that's timed out with the end of the airdrop and if Rift Watchers comes out around that time. Is it Rift Watchers or Rift Walkers? Do we know yet? I guess not. My bad. So I should probably know that, but hopefully you understand where I'm coming from, or at least what you know what I'm referring to. So that's kind of my tentative plan moving forward. If the market tanks and SPS holds its value, I really don't see myself selling SPS anytime soon. I would rather just hold stake for the long run. That's what Agro keeps saying. That's what they want people to do. So I will keep on doing it. And what I will try to do then with the airdrop and DEC is hopefully get DEC to a point where the passive income, I don't need to pull all of it out. I can be reinvesting part of that back into the game. And actually, that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm actually not pulling any DEC out. I'm just reinvesting that back into more rentals, because right now, my rental income is, I'm sure some people will think it's large, but it's not enough to like pay my bills or anything like that. And so I would rather just keep reinvesting it back into the game. But a part of me, like I said, gets nervous about the fact that there is so much locked up here. And so I want to make sure that I'm realizing some of these gains, and DEC is going to be the way that I do it. So that's kind of where I'm at moving forward. Hopefully that's helpful. Like I said, I tried to break it down into the 3 different areas that I'm receiving daily now, with SPS, 1A and 1B with SPS being the staking rewards and the airdrop. And then with DEC really being the currency that we hold in the future, or just treat it as an in-game currency. That is where I will be trying to realize a lot of the gains and extracting value from this. So I don't have any plans of selling hard-capped assets. And by hard-capped assets, I mean cards, SPS, and land if you have land. I was able to buy 1 plot. So those all 3 will be generating me some kind of income in the future, whether it's through rentals. Well, whether it's through rentals or making my deck better, then I'm able to earn more by playing the game, right? I enjoy the game. I want to make my deck better. I want to be more competitive and eventually get to gold. And I'm in silver 3 right now, but I would love to get to gold at some point and beyond. But I'm not going to rush it. I don't want to be throwing in tons of money into this game. I did. I really wanted to, but a part of me is struggling with that because I've tried to be a disciplined investor all across the board, and at the end of the day, as fun as this is, it's still an investment to me, and so I need to be able to treat it as such, and hopefully, for those of you who are approaching it from either the investing or gameplay, or as a gamer, as a player, you're understanding that this creation known as Splinterlands has benefits that are both, right? You can't really just be a player and you can't really just be an investor. I mean, you can just be an investor, but it's hard, right? Because well, maybe if you don't like the game at all, but you believe in it, you can just be throwing your SPS in and buying cards, whatever the case is. But to me, there's a lot of playability value with this, and I just feel like people who come into the ecosystem get sucked into it, right? And so, especially for new players, maybe I'll do a video at some point just talking about, I guess, an investor mindset that I have. But this is kind of what I wanted to share with you. The only thing that I'll say for newer players is that, if you are, and I've said this before, if you are if you are playing the game and you are pulling all your DEC out from everything that you win and not buying any of the assets in game, you're not an investor. So, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're just not an investor, and that's fine. But understand that this game is not, the founders of this game want you to be buying and investing in the assets. So you can still be a successful player if you are super talented and have the initial capital to rent what you need to play at the high levels and then crush all the people and come back with 10x what you put in for rentals. Boom, like, do that every day. But understand that it's a job then, right? And you are then trading your time for money. So, if you're not buying assets in game, that's totally up to you. And maybe you're doing this where, like, you don't care about the assets in game. Maybe you're bearish on the game long term, but you're taking advantage of the fact that you can get cheap rentals, win a bunch of money, and then taking that money out and putting it into Bitcoin. So you're still an investor, just not investing in this game. But then understand that the way that this game is set up is to reward investors in the long run. So that's kind of where my head is at with this stuff. I reserve the right to change my mind in a week, a month, 6 months, whatever the case is. A lot of this is just an evolving process. And for me, I just wanted to kind of share where I'm at because people have been asking. But I am very, very bullish on this game long term. It's just, I can't YOLO in, and maybe some other people will, and SPS all of a sudden pumps to $10 and everyone's happy, and I'm just like, shoot, I wish I had put more money in, right? But I can live with that because I know that ultimately I am staying within the boundaries that I've set for myself. And even now, I've pushed that, right? 5% is, I don't want to have any coin more than 5% outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm allowing this to be 15%. So my exposure is super, super high. But my hope is that in the long run, other investments will pop up and this will go back down to its 5-10% value. And it will still be enough for me to be successful in the game long term and to get all the benefits that I want. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully that was helpful. Would love to hear your thoughts and how you're approaching this. But I will see you in the game, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.